Prema Bhakti Hoite Avidya Vinashayate Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavari Vaschacharya Satarine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Vaschacharya Satarine
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare
श्यामकुंद राधकुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय, पुरी धाम की जय, गंगा यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ ललित देव शट देवी की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, गोनिताई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, Transcendental book distribution ki jai. Lord Narasimha Dev's appearance day ki jai. Lord Narasimha Dev's appearance day Mahotsava ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Glories to the assembled of glories to the assembled of all glories to the assembled of Guru and Sri Gauranga.
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदना व्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Maharaj, Jala Maharaj, Jala Maharaj, Jaya Jala Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande, Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So this morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 7, Chapter number 9, entitled Prahlad Pacifies the Lord with Prayers, and we're reading from text number 5. Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam, Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam, Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta, Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta, Utapyata Chishna Dadat Karambujam, Utapyate Chishna Dadat Karambujam, Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam, Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam, Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam, Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta, Utapyata Cheshnya Dadat Karambujam, Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam, Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam, Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta, Uthapita Cheshna Dadat Karambujam, Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam,
Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam,
Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam,
Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta,
Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta,
Utapyata Krishni Adadat Karambujam,
Utapyata Cheshna Dadat Karambujam,
Vitrasta Diyam Krita Bhayam,
Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam,
Swapadamule patitam tadadhakam,
Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam,
Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta,
Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta,
Agata Krishni Adadat Karambujam,
Utapyata Cheshna Dadat Karambujam,
Vahi Vitrasta Diyam Krita Bhayam,
Kala hi vitrasta diyam krita bhayam,
Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam,
Swapadamule patitam tamarbakam,
Vilokya Deva Kripaya Paripluta,
Viloke deva kripaya parikruta.
Utapita Krishna dadat karambujam.
Utapita Krishna dadat karambujam.
Kalahi vitrasta diyam tapayam.
Kalahi vitrasta diyam tapayam.
Ladies.
Swapadamule patitam kamarpakam. Vilokya deva kripaya parikruta. Utapita Krishna dadat Kalahi vitrasta diyam tapayam. Swapadamule patitam kamarpakam. Vilokya deva kripaya parikruta. Utapita Krishna dadat karambujam. Kalahi vitrasta diyam tapayam.
Swapadamule, at his lotus feet. Patitam, fallen. Tam, him. Prahlad Maharaj. Arpakam, only a little boy. Vilokya, seeing. Deva, Lord Nishingadev. Kripaya, out of his causeless mercy. Paripluta, very much afflicted in ecstasy. Uttapya, raising. Tashirshni, on his head. Adadhat, placed. Kara ambujam, his lotus hand. Kalahi, of the deadly snake of time, which can cause immediate death. Vitrasta, afraid. Dhyam, to all those whose minds. Vita abhayam, which causes fearlessness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. When Lord Nishingadev saw the small boy Prahlad Maharaj prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head, because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. So if you can repeat after me. When Lord Nishingadev saw the small boy Prahlad Maharaj, prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head, because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. Purport. The necessities of the material world are four: ahara, nidra, bhaya, and maitana. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. In this material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness, sada samudvigna dhyam, and the only means to make everyone fearless is Krishna consciousness. When Lord Nishingadev appeared, all the devotees became fearless. The devotees' hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of the Lord Nishingadev. Yato yato yami tato nishingo. Wherever we go, we must always think of Lord Nishingadev. Then Thus there will be no fear for the devotee of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manohishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Devasha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I'm very grateful to have this opportunity to try to share some words with all of you. There are many senior Vaishnavas in the room, so I pray for your blessings and good wishes so that I can try to explain something on this wonderful purport that Srila Prabhupada gives on the 7th canto. Hare Krishna. In this material world, it's said that there are 3 emotions which are the most powerful 3 emotions in the world. Anyone want to guess the 3 most powerful emotions in the world? Any idea? Fear. Anger. Love. Lust. All of these are very powerful. It's said that the 3 most powerful emotions in the world are love, hate, and fear. Where there is love, hate, and fear, extraordinary things can happen. Shocking things can happen. People can act in ways which you wouldn't, in your wildest imagination, think they could. Because these emotions create something within us which we weren't even aware of. So love, hate, and fear are said to be the 3 most powerful emotions in the world. And if we look at this pastime from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all about love, hate, and fear, isn't it? It's so much about love, this pastime of Nishingadev, the love that Prahlad has for Nishingadev. The love that Nishingadev has for Prahlad, that he was willing to come out of a pillar to save his devotee. This pastime is so much about hate, isn't it? Hiranyakashipu had serious hate for Vishnu because Vishnu, as Varahadev, had killed Hiranyaksha. That hate for Vishnu transported to hate for all the sages, all the demigods, and all the inhabitants of the universe. And that hate eventually went to his own son, Prahlad, who was a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. And this pastime is so much about fear. the fear that Hiranyakashipu had, the fear that he incited within others, and the fearful situations that Hiranyakashipu put Prahlad into by trying to kill him in so many ways. So now we can see that the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of the most emotional, the most heart-wrenching stories in the universe. Therefore Bhagavatam is known Rasam Alayam, the abode of rasa. Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuraho Rasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. That these stories are full of so much transcendental taste and rasa and emotion, but only one who is a rasika, only one who is refined in consciousness, is able to read these pastimes and actually experience these emotions that are being expressed here. It's said that when a devotee reads these pastimes, then they actually enter into this world of Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is not just words, it's not just stories, but it's an entire world. And therefore, if one is having refined consciousness, as soon as these pastimes are recited, one can actually enter into this world. Even when there are dramas, one can actually enter into the world of this rasa, because it's very much available. Gaur Govinda Maharaj tells a story of how in the Orissa villages they would perform dramas of all of these pastimes, and once in one of the villages they were performing the pastime of Nishingadev and Hiranyakashipu. And of course Prabhupada said that if one is a sincere actor, then when they begin acting, then the emotions of the character actually enter. So in this Orissa village, Gaur Govinda Maharaj told of how once they were doing this play, someone was obviously playing all the different characters, and when it came to the point that Nishingadev took Hiranyakashipu onto his lap, Hiranyakashipu had done so many austerities that it said his chest was like steel. But the Lord wanted to rip it apart. And therefore the Lord, Tavakara Kamalavare, with his nails, ripped that chest of Hiranyakashipu. And he said that when the actor was performing this scene, that he was so much in the mood of Nishingadev, empowered by that Shakti of the Lord, that he actually began ripping the devotee's chest. It became so intense that they had to stop the play. They stopped the play. Hopefully that doesn't happen in today's play. Somehow or other, that's the power of these narrations. And he said, Gaur Govinda Maharaj explains that as they continued on, weeks by, doing other plays, the year went round and it came to Ram Navami, and they were doing a Ram Navami play, and they were giving all the parts out to the different devotees. So the particular devotee who was Nishingadev last time, they said, you better be careful what part you give him. Like, give him a strictly non-violent role. So somehow or other they gave him the part of Dasharath. Dasharath is pretty mellow role in Ramayana. Unfortunately, when it came to the point, fortunately or unfortunately, when it came to the point where Ram was exiled to the forest and Dasarath was thrown into extreme separation, that this actor actually fainted. Shri Shri Radha Gopinath ki. This actor actually fainted on stage, for real, not acting, and he wouldn't get up. And this actor, they eventually hospitalized him, and he actually left his body. So, Rasamalayam, this is not just a story, this is something much, much deeper. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how Lord Nrsingadev is able to create fearlessness within the devotee. This pastime is all about fear. The Lord of the form of the Lord is fearsome. The situation in which he appears is completely fearful. And it's said that because of being connected with Lord Nrsingadev, Prahlad is completely fearless. So this pastime is all about the fearsome Lord who removes fearful situations and grants fearlessness to the devotee. So that's very, very significant for us because our life is so much about fear, isn't it? Anyone here have any fears in life? Join the club. We have so many fears. Fears about what will happen to me. Fears about the past. Fears about what will happen to my children. Fears about our health. Fears about rejection. Fears about failure. If we're happy, then we're fearful that it will end. And if we're unhappy, we're fearful that it will never end. So many fears, so many anxieties, constantly going on in the mind. It's just like we're sitting here now, but how much are we able to even tune in? Because there's still so many fears which are overshadowing our consciousness. It's said that 40% of fears are about the past, things you can't do anything about. 30% of fears are about the future, but about things you have no control over. And 20% of the fears you have probably won't ever happen. So 90% of the fears are practically useless. But it is hijacking our consciousness. So many fears. One time, rich industrialist came to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, I have so many factories, I have so many people working under me, I have so many assets, so much money, but I'm completely filled with anxiety. Prabhupada looked at him and said, Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashrita kamapa bhoga padama etavadita nishchara. If you have Kamapa bhoga padama, if you have unlimited material desires, chintam aparimeyam cha, then you will also have unlimited anxieties. So Prabhupada said, naturally, yes, you have so much money, but you also have so much anxieties because you have so many material desires. So Prabhupada said, we want to help you. So just give all your money to us. We'll be happy, Krishna will be happy, and you'll be peaceful. He said, okay, Swamiji, I'll think about it, I'll come back to you. Prabhupada said, get his name and number, we'll contact you, we want to help you. That's the fact of the situation, that so much fears are there within our consciousness. So, here in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining the means by which to overcome fear. If you have fears in your mind, don't worry, because it's not a part of you. Do you have some fear that someone else doesn't have? Yes or no? Can you think of a fear that you have that another person in this room probably wouldn't have? You can think of a fear like that, right? Can you think of a fear that you had previously that you don't have anymore? Fears are just temporary. Fears are just learnt. Fears are artificial. And therefore, it's very, very easy to overcome fears. But one must know the means to overcome fear. You see, the problem in the material world is people are all trying to overcome fear, but they're trying to do it in the wrong way. Sometimes people try to overcome fear on a physical level. They're fearful that something will happen to their health, so take out a health insurance policy. They're fearful that someone will rob their house, so put a burglar alarm up. They're fearful that I will go to another country and I'll get sick, so they take a vaccination. They're fearful that maybe I'll go out and if it's a famous person, someone will try to harm me, therefore they get bodyguards. Trying to resolve their fear on the physical level. But does it resolve your fear? Maybe temporarily it gives some peace of mind, but not a permanent solution. Other people try to overcome fear on the mental level. Oftentimes people take intoxication, take drugs, take alcohol, take some kind of intoxication, and what that does is it alters your mental state and it clouds your intelligence so that your fear doesn't manifest. Have you noticed when people are intoxicated, they have no inhibition? They'll do things that they would never do in normal situations because their intelligence has been covered, their fears temporarily have been mitigated, and no inhibition, they can just act. But does it last? Intoxication only clouds us for some time and ultimately gives no solution. Sometimes people try to solve fear on the intellectual, logical level. How many devotees here are on Facebook? Come on, I know there's more than that. So on Facebook, isn't it, there's so many quotes about fear that there's nothing to worry about. If you have a fear and you can't solve it, why worry? And if you have a fear and you can solve it, why worry? Therefore, no need to worry. Like you read quotes like that. And you read it and it sounds like, that makes perfect sense. Like, yeah, no need to fear, no need to worry. But as soon as you shut the computer down and walk out of the room, again fearful. So if you try to solve fear on a physical, mental or intellectual level, it will not grant fearlessness. This is the basic difference between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu tried to create fearlessness in his life by going to Brahma and making a material solution. Isn't it? He went to Brahma, he said, I want to be immortal. Brahma said, no, can do. So he said, okay, let me cover all the bases. Can't die in the sky or on the land. Can't die in day or night. Can't die by a human or an animal. Can't die inside or outside. Making all the practical solutions to overcome his fear. But did it ultimately protect him? Did it ultimately create fearlessness? No. What did Prahlad do? While Hiranyakashipu went to Brahma to make a material solution to create fearlessness, Prahlad took instruction from Narada. And Narada told him, just worship the Lord and you'll be granted fearlessness. Hiranyakashipu went for a material route to create fearlessness, but Prahlad went for a spiritual route. And therefore Prahlad was able to find true fearlessness. So no matter what we may do in the material world to create fearlessness, it won't work. Just like one time a lady came to the doctor and she said, Doctor, I'm sick. I have a live frog in my stomach. So the doctor looked at her and said, you don't have a live frog in your stomach. Like if you did, it would be dead and you would be dead. Like it's not possible. She said, no, I've got a live frog in my stomach. So you know what he did? He thought, okay, let's just go with this. So what he did is he gave her an anesthetic. She became unconscious. He walked outside the surgery, he went to the pond and he got a frog. He came back in the surgery and he said to her, she woke up, he said to her, yes, you are right. You're right. Don't worry. We've done the surgery. We've opened you up. We've taken the frog out. Here it is. And there was the frog. So she was over the moon, she was happy. He said, great, problem solved. She went home. Yeah, I feel great now. She came back 1 week later, she said, I got a problem. I took the frog out, what's the problem? She said, the problem is when the frog was inside me, it laid eggs and there's 5 more frogs in there now. He said, my God. Tried to make a solution, but I didn't get to the root of the problem, therefore the problem persists. We may try to cover something up to overcome our fear, but there is no alternative to overcome fear except Krishna consciousness. Until we actually begin to perceive the presence of Krishna in our life, until we actually come face to face with the Lord, until Krishna becomes a reality in our life, not just a philosophical concept, we will still feel fear. You see, Prahlad Maharaj had no fear because he was seeing Krishna everywhere. When they gave him poison, you know what Prahlad Maharaj's consciousness was? They said, Prahlad, they gave you poison, weren't you fearful? He said, why? When the demigods and the demons were churning the milk ocean, then what came out of the milk ocean? Poison. And who also came out of the milk ocean? Lakshmi. Therefore, poison and Lakshmi are brother and sister. And Lakshmi is the consort of my father, Vishnu. Therefore, poison is my maternal uncle. Why will my maternal uncle hurt me? Prahlad, weren't you fearful that they were throwing you into the fire? Why? Fire. Yagye vai Vishnu. Fire is said to be the mouth of Lord Vishnu. If you enter your father's mouth, will he eat you? No, no need to fear. Prahlad, weren't you fearful when they threw you in a pit of snakes? Prahlad said, why? My father Anantashesh, my father is resting on Anantashesh, who is the master of all snakes. So all of these snakes, these pit of snakes that they threw me into, they're simply the servant of my father. So why would they harm me? So Prahlad Maharaj was constantly seeing Krishna everywhere. And therefore he had no fearlessness. He had no fearfulness. He was completely fearless. And we see that the most advanced devotees are having this consciousness of being able to see Krishna everywhere. Srila Prabhupada is such an ideal example. Just seeing Krishna in everything. Like I was just hearing Badri Narayan Maharaj, and he was talking about how Srila Prabhupada went into this Fisher Mansion in Detroit, very opulent building. So Prabhupada walked into this building with the devotees, and it was ornate, chandeliers, marble work, all this pine wood. And as they walked into the main reception, there was this huge French painting. And it was a huge, one of these classic French paintings, and it was a painting of ladies bathing. So, you know, there were ladies and there were men and they were naked, and it was a huge painting. So all the devotees walked in with Prabhupada, sannyasis. So as soon as they saw it, everyone was like... Prabhupada just looked at it. And he kept looking at this painting, this classic French painting of like naked men and ladies. Prabhupada looked around at the devotees and he said, nicely done. It's just like, that was it. That was like, oh, so nicely done. So while all the devotees were seeing Maya, Prabhupada was seeing Krishna. Prabhupada was seeing that here is an artist who's been empowered with Krishna's ability. Krishna's given him that ability and he's manifested this painting. So Prabhupada wasn't seeing naked men and ladies. Prabhupada was seeing the ability that Krishna can instill within someone to create something like that. That was Prabhupada's consciousness, able to see Krishna everywhere. Just like Prabhupada was at the airport and a very beautiful woman walked, air hostess walked past and the brahmachari was next to him, and Prabhupada said to the brahmachari, "Oh, very beautiful, isn't she?" So he was not sure, is it like a test? Is it like, what's the psychology behind this question? So if he says no, then he disagrees with Prabhupada. If he says yes, he might be strike out. You have to change your ashram pool. So he is completely speechless. Like, what to say? What to say? So Prabhupada just saved him. Prabhupada just slapped his thigh and said, yes, she's very beautiful. But if she's that beautiful, imagine how beautiful her creator, Krishna, is. And so again, seeing behind, that Krishna is behind everything. Prabhupada was going around the world challenging scientists, challenging PhDs. One time they came from a conference, a meeting where Prabhupada was meeting scientists and hammering them. And the devotee in the car back said to Prabhupada, "How is it, Srila Prabhupada, that you have the boldness, the courage to just challenge these scientists who are so accomplished in their field?" Prabhupada looked at the devotee and said, "How can I believe them when they say Krishna doesn't exist, when I'm seeing Krishna in front of me every single day?" Prabhupada challenged the scientists not because he was confident of his intellectual ability. Prabhupada challenged the scientists because he knew they were wrong, because he was seeing Krishna everywhere. So Srila Prabhupada was that person who was constantly seeing Krishna everywhere. And therefore Bhagavatam says we have to make this shift, whereby Krishna is not just a philosophical concept, but Krishna is a living reality. This philosophy of Krishna consciousness is not just meant to help us to believe in Krishna. This philosophy is not just meant to help us have faith in Krishna. This philosophy is meant to empower us to dynamically perceive the presence of Krishna in our life at every single moment. And therefore we have to make the shift. Bhagavatam gives the root of where fear comes from. Bhayam dvitiya bhiniveshatashyad ishadapetasya viparyayo smriti tanmayayato buddha abhajetam bhaktyaikayesham gurudevatatma. Bhagavatam says, Bhayam, fear, dvitiya abhiniveshatashyad. Where does fear come from? It comes because you are absorbed in a secondary reality separate from Krishna. Why are you absorbed in a second reality separate from Krishna? Ishadapetasya viparyayo smriti. Because you have turned away from Krishna and you have become forgetful of your relationship with Him. Tan mayayato, this is Maya. Buddha abhajetam. But if you're intelligent, then you'll find the ways and means to overcome this. And what is the ways and means to overcome this? To move from this secondary reality of Maya into the eternal reality of Krishna. What is the means? Bhaktyaikayesham gurudevatatma. Practice devotional service to Isha, to the Supreme Lord, under the direction Guru Devatatma, under the direction of Guru, and accept the Guru. Guru Devatatma means accept the guidance and the path chalked out by the Guru as your ways and means in life, and accept the Guru as your worshipable deity. That is basically how you overcome this fear which is pervading our life and our consciousness. So therefore, this is a very deep teaching that's being given by Srila Prabhupada. It's a very simple statement. You want to overcome fear? Just become Krishna conscious, Prabhu. It's very, very simple. But spiritual life is simple. And Prabhupada said to Tribhuvanath Prabhu that it is so simple that you may just miss it. So here in this verse, what's being explained is that Kalahi vitrasta dhyam krita bhayam, that when Lord Nrsingadev with his hand places it on the head of a devotee, then that devotee becomes fearless. In other words, fearlessness comes from seeing Krishna in front of you. But we can draw another lesson from this verse and this purport. Fearlessness comes from the presence of the Lord, but we can also see it in another way, that acting fearlessly invokes the presence of the Lord. Okay? You see, there's two ways to see it. One way to see it is that when the Lord is present in front of us, then we're blessed with fearlessness. But the other point here is that when we act fearlessly, then the Lord manifests Himself. The Lord manifests His presence. And therefore, you have to be fearless to become fearless. You have to be fearless to become fearless. Prahlad Maharaj was challenged many times. The first time when Nrsingadev came to him and said, "What is the best thing you've learned?" Prahlad Maharaj told him, "Hitvatmapatam grihamandakutam vanam gato yad dharima ashrayeta." That was like the wrong answer to give. At least for Hiranyakashipu. Hari ashrayeta. If you're a materialistic householder absorbed in the dark well of material life, then you should leave everything, go to the forest and take shelter of Hari. It's like, could you say anything more provoking to Hiranyakashipu than that? Prahlad Maharaj knew that it would provoke Hiranyakashipu. He knew Hiranyakashipu would be outraged. But Prahlad Maharaj didn't hold back. He said what had to be said. Second time, Hiranyakashipu comes to him. What is the best thing you've learned? Shravanam kirtanam Vishnu, smaranam padasevanam, archanam vandanam dasyam, sakyamatma nivedanam. Even more anger from Hiranyakashipu. He threw him off his lap. Prahlad Maharaj knew again. First time he wasn't happy, now he's going to be even more dissatisfied. But did Prahlad Maharaj hold back from saying what he had to say? No, he just said it. And then third time Hiranyakashipu came to him and he said, "Where do you get your power from?" Prahlad Maharaj said, "From the same place as you. We all get our power from Vishnu." Again, he knew that would be outrageous. That would enrage Hiranyakashipu, but he didn't hold back. So the point is, in each one of our lives, we say we believe in Krishna. But when the heat starts rising, at what point do we sever our connection with Krishna? At one point, it comes to a point where the fear, the anxiety, the insecurity becomes so much that we say, okay, now I can't, I don't have that much faith in Krishna. I have faith in Krishna, but not that much faith. The lesson here is that as we begin to go beyond our faith level in Krishna consciousness, as we begin to do fearless things, to be fearless means to do something when you don't necessarily have the faith that it will work out, but you still go for it. In that fearlessness, if we make a fearless endeavor to serve Krishna, then Krishna is forced to appear. That's the other teaching from this pastime. Because Prahlad Maharaj said, when he was asked, where is your Lord? Is he everywhere? Yes, he's everywhere. Is he in this pillar? Yes, he's in the pillar. That was a fearless statement. Because no one had ever seen before the Lord appear from a pillar. It was a fearless statement. But because Prahlad Maharaj said it with complete faith, with complete genuineness, with complete sincerity, the Lord had to appear from the pillar. Therefore the Bhagavatam says, Satyam Vidatum Nija Bhritya Bhashitam. That the Supreme Lord appeared to make the words of his devotee come true. In other words, when one acts fearlessly, the Lord will appear. The Lord will manifest in your life. And therefore, if we want to break out of spiritual stagnation, if we really want to perceive the presence of Krishna, if we want to actually have a tangible face-to-face interaction with the Lord, we must act fearlessly. Bhakti-tirtha Maharaj nicely says, when our desire to serve is so great that we go beyond our capacity, but we continue on without hesitation, at that moment, empowerment occurs. It's a very deep statement. When our desire to serve is so great that we go beyond our capacity, but we continue on without hesitation, at that moment, empowerment occurs. And Bhakti-tirtha Maharaj himself was such an example of that, just like fearless endeavors for Krishna, which then really brought about a realization of Krishna. Going into behind the Iron Curtain, into communist countries with cars filled with books. He explains how he would take a car with a boot full of books, go across the overland border, and he would put a wig on and wear like a funky t-shirt with like sunglasses, pretend he was an American tourist. And then when he would get to the border area, then he would keep a dog with him in the passenger seat. And then at the border they would say like, no animals allowed. No, I must take this animal in. No animals allowed. No, this is my dog, I want to take him in. And then he would open the door, the dog would like run out, and then the officials would go and chase the dog and just drive straight through. So it was like, Kaviraj Goswami says, Krishna Bhakta Bodha Chatu. Krishna's devotees are very intelligent. So yes, going into communist countries, he explains one time he was distributing in a college in the former USSR, being chased by the KGB. So he was running down, he said, I was running down a corridor, being chased by this person, and I knew that was it, game over. If he gets me, game over. Turns the corner, runs down the corridor, sees a door on the left, has no idea what it is, runs, opens the door, and just walks in. So as he walks into this room, okay, he's out of that trouble now. But now he's in this room. And in this room, there's a professor sitting behind the desk. So he's kind of like, who are you? And why are you here? So on the spur of the moment, Bhakti-tirtha Maharaj just says to him, well, I have an appointment with you. It's like, No, I don't have any appointments there. No, I made an appointment with you. It's just like on the spot. So he said, okay, maybe there's a mistake. Like, well, who are you and, what did you come here for? So then he just starts doing a book distribution pitch right there. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, the ancient Vedic teaching, Srimad Bhagavatam, 18,000 verses, the first authentic translation, full with purports, and we've got it right here for you. Here, you can take it. And he was so into it that he took it. And he placed a standing order. Krishna is right there. Krishna is right there to reciprocate with the devotee. But when the devotee makes the fearless endeavor, then that helps to accelerate the presence of Krishna. So that is really so much about what is being explained here. That fearlessness is something we're all looking for. In our life there's so much hesitation, isn't it? Mm-hmm. In services there's so much hesitation. Should I do it? Should I not do it? What about if I fail? What about if I'm rejected? What will other people think about me? And clouded with so many fears, we're inhibited to just move forward. But in our lives, instead of thinking about everything that could go wrong, if we're able to make the shift and start getting excited about what will go right, then it creates a transformation in our spiritual life, and it really gives us that sense of fearlessness, because the Lord will become a living reality within our spiritual journey. So those are some thoughts I wanted to share here, that this pastime is very much about fear, and how the Lord's presence, as is said in the verse, when He puts His lotus hand on the head of a devotee, then that creates the fearlessness. But in order to instigate the presence of the Lord, we have to be fearless. So then if we were to summarize in a few words the message of this verse, be fearless to become fearless, and act in ways that will attract the attention of the Lord. And when that Lord then is attracted by that special endeavor, then that will create an incredible relief from material hankerings. So that's the challenge for us. The Bhagavatam says, Yatre dhyante katham rishtas. Where there is talks of Krishna and talks of philosophy, Trishnaya prashamo gata. At least for the time being, we forget all material problems. Have you had that experience? When you're listening to the class and when you're hearing the katha, everything makes complete sense. There's complete clarity. Like in the room, we're not having any problems at all. So therefore, in the translation, Prabhupada says, where there are talks of the Lord, we forget all fear and all hankering, at least for the time being. But then the challenge is when we walk out of the door and we're not absorbed in that sound vibration, we're not absorbed in that remembrance, then again, all the fear, all the envy, all the insecurity, it all comes back. And therefore, Krishna has to be side-by-side living reality for us in our life, and that will create the permanent solution. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So I think we're supposed to stop at 9 o'clock, so we have a few minutes if anyone has any questions or comments or corrections, then happy to. Yeah, Vishwama.
Thank you so much. I was wondering, you mentioned instead of thinking about fears, maybe think about, instead of thinking of everything that can go wrong, think about those things that will go right. And I don't know if you kind of elaborate a bit how you go about doing that.
You see, within our greatest fear is the greatest opportunity. It's like sometimes in team building exercises, they do this experiment where like two people stand up and they're looking in the same direction, so one is behind the other one. And then at one point they tell the person in front, like, just fall back. Don't worry, your friend behind you will catch you. Now everyone's looking at it and everyone's thinking, that's such a simple thing, like he's right there, just do it. Like it's not a big deal. But when you're in that position and you have to do it, it's very, very difficult. It's very difficult to have that trust. It's very difficult to have that faith. But when we do it, and the person catches you, then to do it a second time, to do it a third time, to do it a fourth time is not difficult at all. So every time we have a fear and we overcome it, it gives us incredible traction in our spiritual life. It gives us incredible realization. And that traction and realization then feeds our ability to do more and more. And when we do more and more, we get an even deeper realization of the Lord. And then we can do more and more. And like this, it just becomes a snowball effect. But what is happening oftentimes is that we are going for a comfortable life. Krishna in our life doesn't work to give us convenience. Krishna works in our life to give us growth. But we shy away from that. Like the person in distress is looking up saying, Krishna, why did you send me this situation? Can you change the situation? And Krishna is looking down and saying, but I sent that situation so you change yourself. So the point is that fears, we need to start to see fears as the greatest opportunity. Pregnant within every fear is the greatest opportunity of realization of Krishna. And therefore, yes, instead of thinking about everything that could go wrong, start getting excited about everything that could go right. And the point is, in Krishna consciousness, it's not even could go right. It will definitely go right, because Krishna says, Name bhakta pranashyati, that my devotee will never perish. So there really is nothing to fear. In Krishna consciousness, whatever may happen, Krishna is always there and he'll always back you up. So it just means a change. Many of us, we are risk averse. It's interesting, like, sometimes we think, I'm taking the safe option by not doing this thing. We think non-activity is the safe option. Like say for example, there's a decision in your life to change something. Our default position is always to think like, anyway, I'll just take the safe option and not do anything. I won't make a decision. But by not making a decision, you're making a decision anyway. And one philosopher says, 20 years from now, you will regret more. You will have more regrets about the things that you didn't do than the things that you did do. Because regret, stagnation, going for a comfortable life, and staying within our own safe zone doesn't really amount to a dynamic spiritual life. It can just become ritual and become very dry and stagnated. Therefore Prabhupada writes in one purport, an easygoing life, an attainment of transcendental realization in Krishna consciousness cannot go together. So it's like...
Thank you, Book. What's the difference between easy and simple? To understand spiritual life is so simple, it's not easy. Is that, I understand, but there is something like that. Yeah,
Tamal Krishna Maharaj once said to Prabhupada that Prabhupada, you said spiritual life was easy. Prabhupada said, I didn't say it's easy, I said it's simple, but it's not easy. Because Prabhupada also said simple for the simple. So it is simple if you are simple. But because we're not simple and because we're complicated, and because we add in so many other ingredients of material desires into the simple process of devotional life, then it actually becomes very, very difficult to do it. It becomes actually very, very difficult to do it. It's like Krishna consciousness is simple. Please Krishna and you will be happy. But then we kind of, in our life, we think it can't be as simple as that. Like, I've got to hold back something for myself as well. Like, yeah, one for Krishna, one for me. Like, okay, two for Krishna, but still, I need one for me. So the only thing that makes it difficult is our own complicated mentality. Otherwise, Prabhupada said, spiritual life is simple. What does a devotee need? A few meters to sleep on, some prasadam, and a little bit of service. If you make me a big leader, that's fine. And if you tell me to wash the corridors, that's also fine. I just need a little bit of service. What is actually needed? But our mind, not satisfied. Therefore Krishna says, Mana prasada somyatvam maunamatma vinigraha. The austerity of the mind is satisfaction. To just be satisfied. But we're not satisfied. That's the point. Namu.
I just had a little comment. When Narasimha Caturdasi was giving a lecture, and he described his pastime when Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlad, "Is your Lord in this pillar?" Because while Maharaj was seeing Krishna, he said that actually Lord winked at him. He winked at him. Maybe it's one, but they say there are many paths, like many ways to punishing it. So in one of those, that he actually saw Krishna winking at him because he was saying Vishnu Narayana.
Very nice. So the Lord winked at Prahlad Maharaj. It's bona fide, you can do it.
You're talking about being fearless. What's the difference between being fearless and not being thoughtful about the situation?
Yeah, so everything is done within the boundaries of Guru Sadhu Shastra, done with guidance. Fearless doesn't mean whimsical. Fearless means you're ready. You're ready. Are you ready? Doesn't mean, you see, it's a mentality. Fearless doesn't mean you just jump in and do something, but it means if the Vaishnavas, if Krishna wants you to do something, are you ready? So it doesn't mean that fearlessness is minus of intelligence. Fearlessness is full of intelligence. But the question is, who is ready when the call comes? When the call comes from Krishna, are you ready? That's the question. Does that make sense? I'm just conscious of time. Should we finish that? Finish that.
So we request all devotees to remain temple room. Our children will perform now a little musical performance. Just make a little space here they can walk through.
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Prabhupada ki
Jai. Jai.
Request everybody to go more so that there's more people that they can also come into the temple room.
Know how many cows you can buy from orange cities and bullock carts? It will be preaching by example, because people know our books, but they don't see us doing. They see us going in Mercedes and Bentley all the time. Huh? What do you mean? Yeah. You don't need to live for Krishna, that's for yourself.
Lost your voice.
Whoever wants to come in can still come in. There's no space. Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much for staying, and we hope you will enjoy this little performance that the Radhadesh kids have rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed for you all and for the pleasure of Lord Nrsingadev. Yes, please welcome them with a warm applause.
Namaste Narasimhaya Radhadesh Hiranyakashipu Vacha Hito Nishimo Bharato Nishimo Yato Yato Yamitato Nishimo Hare Nishimo Hridaye Nishimo Nashibhavatim Sharanam Prapate. One, two, three, four. Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanspringam Kesha Narayu Pachaya Jagadisha
So if I can just introduce them to you. Singer number 1 is Jivani. Singer number 2 is Nimai. Number 3 is Vaishnavi. Anjali. Our very adorable little Prahlad Maharaj. And then Hiranyakashipu by Ramani.
makeup and schmink is all done by Gita. So thank you very much for your attention and have a happy Narasimha Caturdasi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, all devotees, I hope you're having a wonderful Narasimha Caturdasi celebrations. Just a couple of announcements. 11 o'clock, please be assembled in the community hall, because that's going to be where we're going to commence our cultural program today with His Holiness Kadma Kanda Maharaj. So 11 o'clock, please be at the community hall. And also, from yesterday's King's Day parade, this bead bag was left in bus 1. Bus 1, so if anyone wants to claim it, you can come see me. So yeah, bus 1, this bead bag. Otherwise I'll sell it. Yeah. Just joking. Okay, Hare Krishna, thanks very much. Have a wonderful day. Hari Bol.
Rishi was asking that verse I said about making the rules of worship nation. What verse is that? 11th canto. 11th canto. Very powerful. I think it really touched my heart.
You don't know the conference?
Yeah, you are. No, I know Maharaj told me you're going to be one of the people because he's going to get introduced.
I thought there's like 6 or 7 people.
Maharaj is spontaneous.
It's like your start.
Maharaj told me that he came up with this skit like half an hour. Like half of that. That's what I'm not joking. I'm not
I'll give you a whole mission. 10 minutes.
Is that what it is? I promise you. What do I need to do? He's going to explain in the conference itself. Roughly what is it?
It's basically like your identity and what you feel needs to be in
He's
this
going to give
moment.
certain topics to each group, and each group is almost like panel leader.
Oh, okay, so it's not us presenting something, we're just facilitating.
No, but you'll get 10 minutes to present purely. You.
Me, myself. This sounds interesting.